Hello everyone and welcome back to Avorion, the Space Sandbox Simulator game. Today I'm going to show you how to make more money with trading so that you can build up your economy enough so that you can buy the dream warship or maybe that special enterprise ship that's going to fly across the galaxy and make the galaxy safe for democracy. Whatever your goals are in the game, this is a great way to make lots of money, and it definitely beats the mining tips that I showed before in my prior video. Having said that though, this does have a particular game style that you may not enjoy. In my case, I like building massive economies. I like building mines and stations, which I've started to do recently, and I will probably have another video on that later. But if you're not into that, if you don't like doing that, you probably don't want to follow this method outside of just making some quick cash. If you just like to build your own starship, explore the far reaches of the galaxy, the mining fleet's all you need until you can build a decent ship, and then you can move on. Now, let's assume you want to get into the trade business. This works very well, but to pull it off, the method I used was two separate ships. The reason you want two separate ships is because one of them is going to be your scout. That's the little guy I'm flying now. This is an Aquila class scout, which I made a while ago, and it's pretty effective. I like it. Its primary goal, though, is to be very quick. The dumbass over there that just rammed into the asteroid is Taurus. It is just a hauler. It's just a big ass freighter. It's not even supposed to be armed. I only have it here to make some money while I'm sitting around. As you can see, the design is very simple. This is called a Taurus 4-bay. Whoop, whoop. Don't want to get hit by him. He's a 4-bay because if you look at the top of his design, very simplistic, you can see that it's very regimented. Notice how there are 4 bays, and then I just have cargo bays all underneath him. You can extend him lengthwise or widthwise to your heart's content. He's not very strong. If you're going to play a game with his active PvP, he may not be the best option for it because he's really weak. His primary structure to build him is just this top piece that's shooting the laser beams. Everything else is just cargo and some extra energy. The reason I like this design is that when you are trading, many times the more cargo you add, the more you're going to slow down because there's just more mass to push. Now, what I do is I normally delete most of those blocks. Each one of those blocks is a 3x3x3, and I group them in groups of 6s, if you can see there. Let me get out of this. And, oops. Let me show you from this view. See, you can actually fly inside the ship if you wanted, and each one's its own separate block. Anyway, however you decide to do it's not that important. I can host a video later on how to build ships if there is interest, like warships and scouts and freighters like the one you see here. Let's go ahead and get on him. And what we're going to do is we're going to show you the upgrade you need. When it comes time for him to mine, you're going to replace your upgrade here and give him to him. But when you're just flying him, what you're going to do is you need, at a minimum, you need the trading upgrade which I showed you. You want this quantum hyperspace upgrade. We don't need these turrets right now. So you get the quantum hyperspace upgrade. This, as well as the cargo upgrade. The reason for this is this gives you more space, so you can carry more stuff. This allows you to jump farther into space, and it has better cooldown on your hyperspace engine, which is going to add up to a lot, because this ship is slow, it has a lot of mass, it takes a long time to recharge. But as you can see, my jump range on it is pretty decent. That jump range can effectively cover this space, more or less, with 1, maybe 2 jumps. So that's why what you want to do is get your freighter ready, you sit him in a safe area, while your scout figures out the initial routes, and then all your freighter does is he jumps in behind after the fact to pick things up. That's it. So let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to head back to this area, mostly because it was very profitable. This area was not so profitable, probably because the density was very low. Alright everyone, now here we are. We're going to start the path. I'm just going to give you a quick overview here. I already know the density, and I know that the density here is pretty good from this point down to about here. You can see there's a lot of green dots, which you want to go back to, like up to here, in various locations here. And the reason for this is these are going to have a high density of stations and mines that you can effectively take cargo from and go to a neighboring store or maybe an adjacent store and make a decent profit off of. This density is important. Later on, I tried it out here. It didn't work so well because the density was very low, and it was very hard for me to find things that I could effectively trade between different sectors. So, having said that, let's go ahead and show you the process. It's very simple. I would recommend adding a note saying, starting mining here. Starting trading. Just so you know where the first image is going to be. Now what you're going to do is go back here, and again, you need to have this equipped. I strongly advise having a rail or better. Ideally, just always have a rail. The uncommon is not going to show you something very important. And I'm going to repeat this again because this is extremely important. This percentage is going to save you a lot of time. So make sure you always have the rail or better. Now what you're going to do now is you're going to take your phone. You're going to bring up the camera, and you can't see this obviously, but you have to do this yourself. And you're going to sort for buy by the cheapest at the top, so the ones that are the lowest below the market value. And then you're going to take a photo of it. And the photo has to include the whole trading overview and then the system you are in, because you're going to go through these photos and you need to remember which one you got it from, okay? So let's go ahead and take a fit picture. That's done. Now we're going to do the exact same thing for the selling, but instead we're going to sort it by the most expensive, right? Because the demand here is very high, but the supply is very low. Now there's one other thing I want to show. Here you see that this guy has an existing trade route. So we can look at what's available, but then also it will detect trade routes. Because I'm using a rail one, or a rail trading system, which again I'm going to go here. You can see the rail trading system is this. You want rail or better, because with rail it shows you the percentage difference from the market value, and it will also show trade routes. In this particular case, we can see that there are processors available that can be bought for 4,423 and sold for 9,082. This is in the same sector because that's the limitation of this trading system that I have. Now, what you want to make sure is how much can this guy sell and how much can this guy buy, because they don't always line up. So let's check the processor factory for processors. Okay, we press F and buy and sell goods. So he can sell a lot, 3,193. Let's check again to see how much the repair dock can buy. A lot. So basically we can buy as many as they can sell and we can be assured of a high profit. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that right now just to show you what this looks like, and then I'll show you a little bit later what it looks like to get multiple ships. Because fortunately my Taurus is nearby. Orders escort me. Why on earth he went that far, I will never know when I told him to idle, but whatever. It's okay. Okay, so let's trade ships now. There we go. Let's go here, and again, I need to unequip this one because I don't really care right now. This is not hostile space, so again, you need that equipped. Go here, oops, and let's go to the processor factory. One of the tips I'm going to give you though is don't fly directly towards a station you want to dock with. With a ship this big, it's very hard to slow effectively. What you want to do instead is purposely miss it. So aim a little bit beyond where you want to be. And what I'm now going to show you is an occasional bug that happens. This happened actually earlier today with this exact same factory. And what you notice is that there was no way to actually dock with this factory. And this is very, very frustrating. It doesn't seem to repair. Basically, if you look at it, you notice how there are all the docking stations, but there is no icon to actually dock. And I think it's because the AI, one of the ships docked and accidentally crashed into it and wiped it out. But they never seem to actually fix it, which is somewhat unfortunate. As a side effect, I think this is a great way to exploit the game if you wanted to. Think of it this way. Let's pretend this guy's always producing processors, and there's a huge demand for them. So you can build your own processor plant. You come to one of these stations and just destroy the docks. You're going to lose a little bit of a little bit on your relations, but if you just keep it small and just destroy one or two little things, you'll probably be okay. Anyway, it's just a theory. I haven't tried it. So I can't unfortunately show you this with this particular ship. So it's time to move on. Okay, so we're back at the new sector. Again, same thing. You want to buy low, sell high. Make sure when you get the video that your video, I'm sorry, when you get the, make sure when you get a picture that your picture includes both the system and all the prices, sorted appropriately. On the sell tab, again, same thing. Let's check this out. There we go. Now you're just going to go on to the next star system. This can be a little monotonous, it can be a little boring, but it pays off a lot more than mining. That's all I'm going to say on that. So if you enjoy shooting your laser at mines, go ahead. I prefer this because it's a lot more profitable. Also, as you can see, the Taurus does cost a bit, but that's mostly because I have a huge crew. It's not bad when you consider the fact they could bring in many millions per hour if you so desire. I will point out that you really want to include both photos. It just makes it easier for searching on your phone. It's not mandatory, obviously, but if there's no content, you probably want to still record it so that you know and remember that, oh yeah, there's nothing there. It's not required, but it might make your life easier later. Also, I always do it the same style. I buy and then sell, buy and sell. And it just makes it easier to organize when you're swiping on your phone. The other advantage of doing this method is that you very quickly find lots of asteroids that are just sitting around. So for example, this might be a great place to create our own mine and space station, which I will probably cover in a later video, most likely if I have time. But look at all these mines. I mean, this is incredible. This is, what, 2,400? Yeah, basically 2,400 asteroids. This would be a bonanza. So this is another great way to discover these things. So if you enter a new sector, again, or a new area of space, scout the whole area out first, and then make a plan of how you want to attack it. So, for example, in this case, in the future, what I would do is I would scout, figure out the trade routes, then start doing the trade to get better relations. Once I have a good setup there, I would then move on to discover where I could put my own station and mining facilities so I can make even more money and build bigger and better fleets. Okay. Alright, let's head back. Where can we sell these again? Sell them at Sublime Gods Alpha. So that's this one. Only go to sectors you have already visited, otherwise you could get ambushed by pirates, and that would be most unfortunate. Also, as a point of reference, look how many credits I've spent. That's a lot of credits. Hopefully the profit will make it all worthwhile. Again, take safe routes. Don't get destroyed because you're going to be really, really sorry. Okay, let's sell the goods. Again, sell all of them, 490. That's pretty good. Sell all my vehicles. That's not too bad. That's a pretty good profit right there. I had about 46 million, now I'm 85 million. This is where it pays off. It takes a little bit, but if you were to attempt to do that with mining, it could take you days, if not weeks. Even if the only way you can make that much is if they fixed the game and allowed you to run mining fleets autonomously in other sectors. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Again, that was about 40 million credits. Now, it took a while to get that amount of get the information of where I had to buy them from, but that's what you get. It takes a little bit of work, but it pays off big time. All right. All right. That was a nice profitable run. And let's sell all my body armor. Get rid of that. So Sublime Gods Alpha. Alright, and that's really it. It's very boring at times, but it's very rewarding. As you can see, I went from about, I think it was 45 million when I started this demo, to 106 million. So that's pretty damn good. Only about actual gameplay, probably 2 hours. Because I remember paying the Vega, actually no, the Vega was paid midway through the exploration. So realistically, 90 minutes of gameplay, and you can make a lot of money. Now, it was about 30 minutes outside of that, just comparing some stuff, writing some notes down, so I did it right. But that's really all you need to do. This is a great way to make some money. Later on, though, I think the best way to use this is with mines and various spaceports. So, for example, you can have mines that go ahead and produce your platinum and your silver and so forth. And what you can do at that point is you can, every couple of days, you just take a big freighter, fill it up with your stuff, and just travel around to neighboring stations and sell whenever there's a positive profit. And that's it for today.